Hello, my friends, and welcome. Thanks for joining me today. We have I don't know if I'm going to say it's fun, but I think it's fun. It's going to be an exploration in fascia. So we are going to work kind of through our lower body today, doing some fascia work. So really getting those calves, really getting those IT bands, and working on those feet. So if anybody deals with plantar fasciitis, if you have really tight calves, if you're a runner, if you wear high heels, if you're on your feet all the time, your fascia is a connective tissue that can really get bound up. And you almost might feel like it's a muscle strain, where it can in fact be just fascia that needs to be released. Fascia holds on to any kind of injuries, past damages, and it holds on to it. So building scar tissue and always getting kind of bound up. So really important to do some fascia work. Stretching, always good. And stretching doesn't mean going to your 10 capabilities. It means gentle and kind. Okay, so fascia work doesn't always feel gentle and kind. Sometimes it can be downright almost painful. So we want to stay on the other side of painful, okay? So we are going to start actually with our feet today. So I have a number of balls that you can use. Any kind of ball actually that is great, that's not super squishy. So I have lacrosse balls, actually a therapy ball, and these are fantastic. So they're probably the nicest, as is a tennis ball. So whatever balls you might have, golf balls work, but ooh, they can be mean. So just be mindful of that. So the smaller they are, the harder they are, the more they're going to get in, the deeper they get in. So I'm going to start with a tennis ball, because hopefully pretty much everybody will have a tennis ball if you have dogs or if you play tennis or what have you, and they're pretty easily accessible. Lacrosse balls too, those are fantastic. Those are probably my favorite, just because they are a great size and they are very dense. So they make you work hard. So I'm going to use the therapy ball and a tennis ball. Those will be my two go-to for you guys today, but whatever you've got. So we're going to take one ball and we're going to place it on the floor, and we're going to place our foot right at the arch of your foot, and you're going to put that ball there. Now, some of the fun here is that you can manipulate and you can intensify and you can actually get a little extra work in. We come into almost a little bridge pose. Now, we're not going to lift our bottom really high. We're just going to get our weight off of our bum and push through the foot. So I'm just gently rolling, making little circles, going up and down, cross fibering, going across the fascia. I'm going to come into the heel and I'm going to work a little bit into the heel. So if you're like, wow, I'm just not really feeling that, you can switch it out to a harder ball. That's good news. Okay. So when you're like, wow, I don't even really feel it that much, that means you're not super bound up, and that fascia is able to move a little more freely. So by lifting off of the bum, we get that work through the shoulders, we get that work through the core, and that extra work through the legs. Can you feel? Now, if that's too much, keep your bottom down and just press into the floor and manipulate that ball. Now we can take it up into the toes, separating those toes a little bit. So anybody that gets kind of numbness, right, in the toes or the feet, this is great, you guys. Promoting blood flow, working it all out, and again, side to side, as well as along the tissue. So when we go up and down, following that flow of the tissue, not quite as intense as when you do that cross fibering and getting into that heel. And you always want to do both sides. So even if it's one side that's kind of bothering you more, obviously that's the one you go to. But really spend some time on both so that you don't end up kind of taking such good care of the one side that the other guy is like, hey, and all of a sudden now you're working on that side because that one's a mess. All right, moving in. So we're going to start at the base of the calf. So here I'm going to transition back to my tennis ball just because how's it going to feel today? I don't know. and every day might feel a little different. So options for your feet. You can have the knee bent for a little support. This guy, so my left leg is going to go out to the side, and I'm going to kind of lay on the ball. I'm going to place the ball just along, there's kind of a little crease that goes along the side of the outside of your calf. I'm going to go just to the back side of the crease, so underneath, and then place it down. So we're going to start low, so kind of just above your ankle bone. You don't ever want to go on your bone. That doesn't feel very good. Okay, so listen. So the leg can be out bent, it can be out long, or we can bring it around behind us. If the knees are happy and healthy and don't mind this position, this is my favorite because this allows you a little hip stretch. This gets into a little bit of the quad stretch in IT, and it also allows you a little bit more pressure against the ball and the floor. So when the leg is extended, you'll notice you get a little bit more of an external rotation through your hip, and you're going to feel it a little bit more. So here, you might just kind of play with it a little bit and move it around. See if you need to just stay on the spot, if you have like a trigger point, or if you're like, okay, no, I'm feeling pretty good. And you're just going to transition that ball right up along that shin. And you can rock it side to side, front to back. This is a little hip mobility too, so this is a beautiful thing. You can put a little pressure on the knee, a little bit. We're being nice, right? And just kind of roll from the knee to the ankle. And then doing that cross fibering. Remember that cross fibering? So we're going across the grain of the muscle, of the fascia. And you might even start lower, kind of working your way back down. Now, if you do find a trigger point, feel free, stay there and just breathe. So sitting up nice and tall. Now you're going to notice that maybe you start to, if you find something, oh, all of a sudden everything locks up because it's like, oh my goodness. Okay, so then you're going to stay where you are and focus on your breath. Close your eyes and see if you can work to let that go. Find your breath. Another cool thing is if you have two balls, you can have one below and you can take the other one, and you can do this little massage technique across the top for that gastrocnemius and your soleus muscle. So a little massage, fascia work. So we're getting that fascia work in, cross fibering. You can even do these little twisting motions. So you're going to take the ball in your hand and you're going to place it on that spot and you're going to twist the ball and then release it. Move it, twist the ball. This feels cool. And just move it around a little bit. So I'm just taking the ball and I'm twisting it just a little bit while I press down. So a little press and twist. Little press and twist. This will add a little bit of spiciness and just work down that leg. Now, if you're like, wow, that feels great, but that bottom ball doesn't feel so great, just take it to the little massage. So that's one of the beautiful things when you have multiple. You can let one of them go if you want. And I'm just going to move this around. And of course, you're going to do the other side as well. This feels pretty good. And then again, that massage. Oh yeah, my calf needs that. Breathe. All right, and getting a little bit deeper into that leg. This time I'm going to pull that right foot around and I'm going to bring that ball just to the mid belly of my calf. So I'm going to come this way so you can see a little bit better. So mid belly of the calf, and I'm going to place that ball here. So I've got my other leg bent and I'm just sitting up nice and tall. So as I press, just using the strength of my leg to press that leg down. If you want, you can lift. Ooh, and by lifting your bum, I hope it feels better for you guys. Lifting your bum off of the floor and pressing that leg into the floor. Yes, indeed. And then you can roll. So if you guys ever work with foam rollers, kind of the same principle, but the ball, ooh, that gets in there a little bit deeper. Sometimes your body is like, why did we pick the ball? Because you need it. And again, I'm just going side to side and I'm shifting. So if you'll notice, I'm kind of doing a little external rotation in my hip, trying to get that outside edge. And then all of a sudden those toes come back towards the sky, and even a little internal rotation. Keeping my core strong, so I'm supporting the back. I'm lifting out of the shoulders, but I am working that calf. Hopefully it's going to really love me after this. And if you can spend, I'm going to say a good 10, 20 minutes each side, so total. Your body, it holds on to that release, that fascia release, and if you're consistent with it, you can actually let go of the memories of the fascia. The fascia just forgets, and it gets long, and it gets smooth, and we get rid of that scar tissue, and it's amazing. So I'm going to move a little bit lower down towards my ankle, and I'm going to do little movements side to side. This actually doesn't feel too bad. That's a beautiful thing. Because that mid-belly, ooh, it needed some love, evidently. Breathe. And then I'm going to slide it back up, mid-belly a little bit. Ooh, right there. And so if you find that trigger point like I just did, you stay there and you breathe. So you can kind of change things up by the way you're sitting. So sitting up tall, you're going to put a little bit more weight, leaning back, maybe a little bit more range of motion to be able to move. Lifting, ooh, more pressure. There it is. Breathe. So again, that up and back movement, that cross fibering. Breathe. And that movement of that internal and external rotation through the hip, just getting that whole calf. Awesome. All right, so we got that calf pretty well. So we're going to move up to the belly of the hamstring. So kind of if you were to sit on your bum and you're going to bend your knees, not way up tall, but so that you can still sit up and you don't have to lean back. You can lean back, but you don't have to. And you're going to place that ball kind of right where it would sit between the floor and your leg. Now just extend your leg and lean back a little bit so core is strong. And you can manipulate, you can roll. So a little internal and external rotation, kind of move that other leg out of the way a little bit so there's a little more freedom in being able to move. Now, not too bad for me here, so I'm going to lift my bottom a little bit and I'm going to start to roll. Not nearly as bad as that calf. And then I'm going to kind of roll to one side. So you'll notice that my left hip starts to lift, rolling onto that right hip. And I'm going to start to get into that IT band a little bit. Not too bad. That's a beautiful thing. And then I'm going to bring it down. About halfway. Halfway between your hip and your knee. Thereabouts. And I'm just going to press. So I'm going to press and I'm going to activate my quad and then I'm going to release it. So I'm going to squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. So if you've ever done quad sets, so it's activating the quads and then releasing. Activate and release. Activate and release. Beautiful. And now I'm going to keep it active and I'm going to roll to the outside, little IT. So the pinky toe is facing towards the ground, kind of the outside edge of your foot, facing towards the ground. I'm going to lift up a little bit, pressing through that left foot so that I can roll front to back. And then coming back to center. Awesome. So again, spending as much time as you need, kind of rolling side to side. Now this guy can be kind of mean, okay? So if you need to transition to the therapy ball, it's a little bit bigger, a little bit softer. Really, it's a nice ball. So you can always do that. Or if the ball is too small sometimes and it doesn't allow you to move properly, always a good time to switch to a different ball. So here, I am going to take this ball and I'm going to put it right underneath my glute. Okay, so I'm going to sit up on it. Now again, don't be right on that, right on your tailbone. We don't want to be right on the tailbone. So get in that fleshy part of your bum. Some of us have a little more fleshy part than others. So just finding that spot. And then I'm just going to kind of roll side to side, up and back, and I'm just playing with it. So that right leg is long. My left leg is active because I'm pressing through that left foot to kind of give me some support to lift my bottom up. Now, the more you relax down on it, oh goodness sakes. So you can do that and just let your body weight sink into your bum. And again, you can move it around a little bit. And it doesn't take much, guys. It's like an inch, half an inch, and you'll be amazed at what you find. So you'll notice that I'm kind of sinking lower and lower. You can even come down onto your forearm. When you come down, that's going to give more body weight, right? So it's going to intensify things. Be nice. And then just a little roll. So you'll see I'm lifting that right foot a little bit, because if we lay it down, it's hard. It's hard to move it. So you'll notice there's a little bit of activation through the glutes. And you can just come back up if you need to get that different rotation. If you find a trigger spot, it's kind of cool. You can do some movements. So lifting and lowering the leg, that's just going to intensify things. You can take it out to the side and do little taps out to the side. So creating some different structures for the muscles and their movements and getting that ball in a little deeper. So you can come down to the very base of the glute, that insertion point, oh, hamstring, and then coming out over onto the hip. Now we just want to be mindful so that we're not getting that bone, right? And again, you find a place where you're like, well, yeah. Again, add some movements, different kind of movements. You can do little circles. You can do front and back kicks. Whatever is right for you. Awesome. That felt good, actually. All right, so our last one, my friends, we're going to get to the front of the leg into your hip flexor. So we're going to come to a prone position on our belly. So coming here, I'm going to kind of just try and eyeball where I'm going to put that ball. And then I'm going to come lower myself down. Of course, I didn't quite eyeball it right. So you want to put the ball kind of right in that hip crease, and you can adjust it, guys. So if it's not quite right, it's all good. So I'm going to hold it there and then roll over onto it. Oof, you'll know when you find it. Okay, so if you need to be up in a little bit of a baby cobra, if you want to lie flat. So I'm going to tuck the left toes. So the leg that I am not working on, I'm going to tuck those toes so that I can help manipulate and pull myself forward and back, just using the toes. I want that right leg, the leg I'm working on, to just kind of be relaxed as much as possible. And then I'm going to roll side to side. So just getting into it as much, ooh, there it is, as much as you like. Now I'm just going to do my best to relax here and to let that body let go of that tension. And little roll out of the knee and then back in. Now you can also, you find that spot and you can open and close. So bending the knee and lengthening the leg. So again, activating different muscles, creating some different scenarios, getting in, so the knee's bent, and I'm going to roll to the outside of the hip a little bit, and then coming back to center. So a lot of this is about playing and finding. So exploration, kindness, and awareness. Extending that leg. Oh, I have that little spot right there, so I'm going to hang here. Hopefully you're finding some good stuff that we can work out. Staying in that baby cobra position is best for me, but again, if you like, you can always come down. I just kind of like the flexibility and the ability to kind of move a little bit so that if I need to lift a little bit more up, if it's too intense, I can press through those elbows and to get some of that pressure off of the ball, and I can also release it down. I had no idea I was this tight, my friends. I needed this a lot, so thanks. All right, you guys, walking those hands up. Come over to a seated position. So real quick again, guys, as many balls as you want, because it's actually really great to have a mix of it, because you never know when you come into it what you're going to need. So like my calves today, and my hip flexors, this massage ball, perfect. I mean, it's probably my favorite. But again, lacrosse balls, tennis balls. For your foot, golf balls are fantastic. If anybody is dealing with plantar fasciitis, throw a golf ball in the freezer and do your footwork with that. Amazing. But I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, if something wasn't super clear and you want to go into more detail, I am always here for you guys. Happy to help. But take care of yourself. Remember, doing both sides, just for a matter of time. Today, an explanation. We did the one side. I will do the other side as well because that is so important. But wishing you guys all the very, very best. Take care of yourselves. Be consistent with this, you guys. This will change your life. It will change your world. I'm so happy to be a part of your journey. Thank you for inviting me into your home. I hope that you come back time and time again. Until the next time, my friends, namaste.